Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast for September 20th, 2023, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, Equal Housing Lender. 2289 is our NMLS number. We have a full panel today, which is phenomenal because the market is moving. We've got several things to talk about today, but I want to welcome Becky Alley. Good morning, Becky.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
And Lisa Lawson. Good morning, Lisa.
Morning, everybody.
Also, John Cole. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
And last but certainly not least, Mr. Harvey Freed. Good morning, Harvey.
Good morning.
The Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, is produced and directed by Roberto Beauchene. He's in the booth waving to everybody. Panel, let's get it out right away. Right away. There are a lot of topics we want to go over. We want to make this fun, informative. Topics to include, but not limited to, are as follows. The question I have for you, and I'll start off with you, Becky Alley. Are buyers getting cold feet as rates stay well above 7% in your market area? Because there is a suggestion nationally that, with inventories low, but a lot of buyers still in demand out there, that buyers are getting cold feet, Becky Alley. I don't see it. What do you see?
It's a part of the daily conversation. It's really just educating our buyers on a daily, because people get caught up in the news, what the press is saying, that narrative that the interest rates are so high, but in comparison to what? We're in a normal market. A 7%, 6% interest rate is really key to what a balanced market should be when, as far as interest rates and the things that they're doing. Now, when someone's like, oh, Becky, I don't know about this interest rate. I just had a conversation maybe about an hour ago with someone, and they're like, well, what's the rates? Because when we first started this, we were in the fives, because they've been looking for about a year now. And I was like, okay, well, we're probably high sixes. She's like, oh man, I don't know about that rate. And I was like, what are we talking about? I'm like, what is your interest rate on your credit cards? What is your interest rate on your car loan? What is the interest rate that you're paying the landlord for this rental that you have? That is what you need to really be focusing on, because we're still going to get you into a house that you can afford. And it's just recalibrating the conversation. You got to have better conversations with each and every single buyer, because of course the investor wants them to be sidelined. Of course their landlord wants them to continue to rent and feed into the negative mongrels that are out there. But here at Capital Mortgage Funding, at least anyone that I'm dealing with, I refuse to let them fall victim to that, because if they can pay 30% on their credit card, and if they can say they're going to take out a 30% personal loan because they're getting over their head with their credit cards, well, then they need to really scale back in their budget anyway, as far as their household income. What are they doing? What are their goals? And that comes into the professionalism of anyone that you're having a conversation with. If someone isn't getting into your finances and the minutia of that, you have to reevaluate it, because no one that I'm dealing with, and none of my clients, no one is running scared. We're running into the fire, because we know what they're buying now is going to benefit them, because when everyone else is jumping ship, we're still staying the course. And when everyone else is getting on the bandwagon, when rates do get, are a little bit lower, my people are going to be well nestled into their homes and refinancing and taking advantage of that equity.
Yeah, we do believe that in the future, probably around middle of 2024, rates could go down to 6.5, could go down to in that range. But Lisa, in your market area right now, are you experiencing buyers getting cold feet? Or, as Becky said, it's just in our area, just a product of what's going on? I actually had a closing the other day, and I got a response from the buyer, and this was a quote. They closed at 7.5, and they said they were happy. They got a great deal, and it couldn't have gotten better. Lisa?
Yeah, I think cold feet is sometimes a natural part of the process for especially a first-time home buyer. Now, if you're upgrading or downgrading, or if you owned home in the past, that might not be something that you're going to be dealing with. But I think if you've never bought a home before, regardless of the rate, I don't care if the rate is a 4 or a 14, the first time you buy a house, it is a little bit nerve-wracking, right? People do get cold feet. They've never had a house payment before. It's a different kind of obligation than rent. They're not sure about a lot of things. So I think that's a little bit normal. And I think maybe with everything going on in the market, truthfully, it's probably a little higher than in the past, you know, with this anxiety of first time home buyers or buyer's remorse. But I think with the correct information and proper coaching, that we get over that hump, and then they get excited. They get excited to be homeowners and create a place and a space to make their own, you know, to lay down roots, to build equity, financial stability. I mean, there's just so many benefits to owning a home. And I think, like I said, once we get over that initial, you know, the little butterflies people get in their stomach, you know, those butterflies go from anxiety to excitement. And I think it's just getting correct information out there. And I don't want to say holding their hand, because, you know, people don't always need their hand held, but, you know, just being by their side step by step and making sure that, you know, they're checking all the boxes and getting exactly what they want.
Yeah, John, Lisa brings up a great point. I mean, we had it when rates were 4.5, 5. It doesn't matter what the rates are. People are going to have certain anxiety, certain anxious moments. I don't think people in our area are getting cold feet about the home buying process, John, because of the rates.
No, people are getting cold feet about selling because of the rates, in my opinion. You know, they don't want to, you know, transfer from a 3% rate to a 7% rate. And, quite honestly, I think, you know, we've got formulas out there to, you know, kind of show you why that makes sense to do it based upon what your current debt load is and what you're looking to do. So, you know, I don't think it's the buyers right now. I think it's more the sellers in the inventory.
I agree with that. In our area, the median home price is not $420,846, Harvey Freed. That's a national average. So I concur with the panel so far. Buyers in our area, Harvey Freed, are not getting cold feet because of interest rates.
The educated buyers are not getting cold feet here either. They're staying the course, but it's been a little bit of a troublesome for them. The higher rates obviously take away your buying power. Their budgets don't allow for them maybe to get that house that they were truly looking for. So they do have to reevaluate, something to consider. The Fed's conversation has been higher for longer. So as much as we hope that interest rates do drop in 2024, that might not be the case. It might be the year after that. It might not be ever. So you have to get used to what the market is now, what the cost of gas is today. And that's what's important. If you can afford to get into a home now, the way the inventory is, the appreciation should really do you some real justice. And that's what it's all about. Having home ownership and having the house appreciate and having something that you can look back on and maybe one day you can owning the house free and clear.
Yeah, let's switch the conversation, Becky, to what's going on right now here in our area, in your area. My thought is, and maybe you can confirm it or maybe you're going to go against it, I need to know. I'm still seeing, with low inventory levels here in our area, buyers are still out in mass. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have some that have fallen off, but the ones that fell off over the last year, to be honest with you, they are coming back because they're understanding that this is the time to take action. So, you know, there were some people that fell off last year and the rates were a little bit better. And, you know, we keep saying it time and time again, the ones that are staying in the fight, staying the course, not quitting, are the ones that are actually winning and coming up clutch when it really matters. So you're going to have some people that are naturally going to get out for whatever the reasons are. Maybe there's something happened financially or personally that is making them want to not buy right now. Maybe there's a job change, something like that. But anyone that is in the financial ability, that has had a stable job, that's been working with me some of them have been working with me for 2 years, right? Because they are very particular on what they're looking for, right? They're not settling, and that's okay too, right? So some of them have been a little bit longer because they know what they want and they're going to get it no matter what in their minds. And other people I'm approving on a Friday, they're finding a house on a Saturday, and we're under contract by Monday. I mean, literally, it's all about who you're working with sometimes, and it's also what you're looking for and how quickly you find it sometimes.
Yeah, Lisa, the queen of Macomb County. Let's focus on Macomb County right now. Buyers are still out in mass in Macomb County, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's definitely a shortage, especially in what we would consider like the first time home buyer bucket, you know, people who are looking to get in that first home between like 150, maybe, you know, 250,000, trying to find their starter home. It's still pretty competitive out there. You know, but it doesn't mean that there isn't something out there and available for you. I had somebody just a couple weeks ago went out Their landlord terminated the lease. They pretty much said, you've got 60 days to be out. That's not a lot of time when considering you got to find a house, get under contract and close. And they did it in the first weekend. They found a place, hadn't, got under contract. They're super happy. We've already got the appraisal back. Everything's moving forward. So it can be done. You have to work with talented people with experience, and when you're in a situation like that, everyone's trying to find a deal. When there's a lot of desire or there's a lot of, supply and demand, right? When there's a lot of demand and very little supply, it's usually when you're not going to get the house for 10,000 under asking. You have to be realistic with expectations, and dealing with professionals that can help you set those is key.
Yeah, I like that. And for those who are keeping score this morning on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fair Independent Mortgage Corporation, we asked a couple questions. In our market area, are not experiencing buyers experiencing cold feet? We all agree the answer was no, they're not experiencing cold feet as they are nationally. And again, are buyers still out in mass in our trade area? And the answer to that question was yes. So if you're keeping score, the answer is no cold feet, and yes, buyers are still out there. So I'm going to turn to John Kolb on this one, John. John, in your area, it's reported that nationally there's been a significant, and I capitalize, underscore, circle, exclamation point, the word significant increase in inventory. What are your experiences in your area?
I don't see an increase in inventory. I mean, you see some of those houses that should be on the corner of a curb for garbage day ready up listed. But I mean, I don't see anything that's of substance and move-in ready for people. I think people are spending a lot more time fixing up their house, taking cash out to do that kind of stuff, home equity loans, and really, putting the love and energy into the existing home that they have. I don't see a ton of houses on the market. So I'm not quite sure where that news article came from, but you know how the media can be. They just twist and turn to make you feel all, well, whatever. I'm just going to stop. There
you go. And you'll have more to comment later on about what the Fed's going to do. But anyways, Harvey Freed, it goes to you. The question is, has there been a significant, keyword, significant increase in inventory in the market area where you go ahead and where you know best? Harvey, what do you think?
No, it's not a true statement at all. In fact, the numbers are showing that 22% down from last August. New home listings are at the lowest level in several years. There's some optimistic people out there, and there's a lot of noise out there saying that this is all going to change, but I don't know how it's going to change unless you start building 1,200 square foot ranch units. The lack of inventory will continue to increase appreciation, but the first time home buyers, the second and third buyers, they have to be ready to pay a little bit more than they used to, and they'll net more money, and the seller will net more money out of the sale of their house. And of course, they'll turn around and pay a little bit more money for the purchase of the new house.
Yeah, and panel, I can't make this up. Here it is. Buyers are getting cold feet, significant inventory. Well, guess what? We here in our area like to bring our clients responsible advice and reporting, and we don't believe that's happening in this area. It doesn't mean it's not happening in other areas of the country. It just means that where we're focused, where we give advice majority of the time, we do not see a significant increase in inventory as reported nationally here in our area. Becky, I'm going to go to you. Third subject of the day, home prices are still higher than this time last year. That is a fact. The question that I have for the panel is, will the prices go down, or is it just seasonal adjustments? But seasonal adjustments suggest not as much, if at all. As a matter of fact, what we're seeing is they're in a holding pattern. They might not be rising as significant as they were before, but they're certainly not going down as much in previous years. Becky, what are you thinking?
Sorry, you froze for.
Oh, Becky,
staying the same. Is that what we're talking about?
No, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, good. The question is this: home prices are still higher than at this time last year. There is some suggestion that there's a seasonal adjustment that are going to be in play as we transition from summer to fall and into winter. We're seeing that the seasonal adjustments are not as much as they were in previous years, if at all. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we are in an appreciating market. Am I froze?
Yeah,
You're
Am I
okay.
freezing?
yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay. All right. So anyway, we're in an appreciating market and we're going to continue to be in an appreciating market. Even if you're looking at a 5% increase, I mean, the homes that you're going to buy this year are going to be worth more next year, which is why we're educating our buyers to continue the course, do what you got to do to get into the home, and just basically just take advantage of that equity once you actually are the owner.
Excellent. Lisa, what do you think about prices going down because of seasonal adjustments?
Yeah, I mean, I personally haven't seen that in so long. I mean, it's probably been a decade. I mean, the past decade, they always said, oh, the winter was the slow season, fall was slow season. Typically, October's been one of my biggest months ever, which is supposed to be the slowing down. And, I think that's it's old school thinking. I just don't think it's as relevant now as it used to be. I think, though, that if, especially in Michigan, if you're moving in winters, because people really have a need to move and a want to move because nobody wants to pack up their stuff in 3 feet of snow. But it doesn't mean that the prices are any different. And it doesn't mean that there still aren't homes for sale. I just think they're more serious sellers and buyers.
I agree with you. And here's that article that says home prices are still higher than last year. And then down here where I've got it circled, they're talking about the seasonal adjustment. However, as Mr. John Kolb, it's still supply side economics, right? The supply is down, which means that the demand, as we talked about, as we know in our area, is still up. So therefore, John Kolb, one can conclude that prices are not going to go down dramatically, if at all, and might continue to go up, right?
Yeah, I don't know who's writing your articles, Dr. Seuss or somebody who writes fiction. But yeah, I agree with both Becky and Lisa that we've got no depreciation going on around here. It's gonna make, like it said, it could be stagnant over the winter time, but likely still going to increase. And like you said, Harry, or we said last week, I think it was, I'm interested to see what the Fed and everybody comes out with, not the Fed, but Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac come out with what they're going to do with next year's loan level limits. If they're going to stay the same or increase, that tells you right there that those people are smarter than we are. What's going to be happening with home prices and loan levels?
Well, I believe, John, I know that there are a lot of people smarter than I am out there. It doesn't mean that they always make the right move. And because sometimes they get intoxicated with their intelligence. You like that statement? They are intoxicated by their own intelligence. So ego rather than good decisions come into play. And as we said before, we think that the Fed overreacts too quickly and they drop rates too fast, and then they over-adjust and they raise them too fast. You need a steady hand on the wheel, and I'm just not so sure. It just seems like it's being jerked all around off the road. But in any event, Harvey Freed, let's talk about what the Fed will do today and how it affects everybody. People say what the Fed does doesn't really affect us. I disagree, because in the last year and a half to 2 years, the Fed has directly, Harvey Freed, affected the housing market. There is usually in a normal market, on a day-to-day basis, you don't feel it. Well, with inflation, and you can feel it at the grocery store, you feel it when you go buy a car, you feel it in durable goods. We're feeling it now more than ever, not since the 1980s has inflation been this out of control, Harvey Freed. So I'm going to ask you a question. Got to address this panel because unfortunately it matters. What do you want the Fed to do, Harvey? I'm not asking you what you think they're going to do. I just want you, what if you were a Federal Reserve chairman for a day, Harvey Freed, what would you do today?
Well, I would like them to just leave it alone for a little bit and see what this winter brings us. But the impact of the FOMC meetings, the Fed meetings, have been dramatic. Yeah, interest rates have gone up, as we've seen from even last year, from the 6s now into the 7s and headed towards the 8% range. So there's no doubt that the Fed has a huge impact on mortgage rates because we've seen it, but even a huger impact on other items that we're really seeing hurt our families has been the car loans, the home equity loans. So it's leaving us an opportunity to potentially get people consolidated under a new first lien or first mortgage. But there's no doubt the Fed's impact is huge.
Harvey, cut out. Becky, I'm gonna go to you. If you're a Fed chairperson for the day, what would you do today?
As they ultimately are trying.
Harv, I gotta go to Becky. I apologize. Beck, what would you do today? Beck?
A lot of
Anybody?
connectivity.
I'm losing it too. I can't hear you guys.
Okay, Becky, you're Fed chairperson of the day. What do you do today?
I leave it alone. Leave it. We've thrown enough rocks in the pond. Let's see where they're going to land, where the ripples are, and leave it at that.
Excellent. Lisa, same question. Fed chairperson of the day. What do you do?
Well, I know dropping it isn't an option, so I would leave it alone. But if I had my way, I'd drop it.
No, you're in charge.
Oh,
You
then
can
I'm
do
dropping
whatever
it.
you want.
Let's
You're
drop it.
dropping it. I like
Drop
it. John Cole, what would you do, buddy?
I'm putting a request in for next week that I get to go before Lisa because she always says what I want to say. So I say I say if I was in charge, I'd be dropping it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I said that too. What they are going to do today, and then I'll go to final words. What they will do today is they will hold it. If I were Fed chairperson for today, I would reduce it by 50 basis points, spur on the economy, give people the confidence to go out, continue to do what they're doing. Because I don't know if anybody's looked around the country. UAW's on strike. That certainly doesn't give the economy any confidence. I would go ahead and I would drop it 50 basis points because that way it would allow for the fact that banks on their overnight lending rate could lend more money to people who would borrow more money and keep this economy going. That's what I would do. Final words for the day. I'm going to start. Let's go in reverse order. Harvey Freed, final words of the day. Harv?
My final words are, if you're out there looking for a house, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go.
I'm telling everybody, all the first-time home buyers, I've got a good group of them. They're out there aggressively looking at houses. They're making as many offers, good communication, and we're telling families, if you need to save a few extra bucks, if you need a few extra bucks to pay off some of your other debt, go out and maybe consider a second job. There's a lot of employment opportunities out there where the younger people, you don't have kids at home, you're just starting your life off. If you've got 4, 5, 6 hours at night, there's a lot of part-time jobs, a lot of side hustle out there that can help families get over the next year or two of the higher interest rates that we're dealing with and these higher home prices.
Excellent. John Kolb, going to you before Lisa lost. Now she can't steal your thunder.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm just going to stick with what I know, right? Let's hope the Fed stays status quo. They don't do anything today. And, get out there and get some advice from the professionals. I'm sick and tired of hearing about all these credit unions and big marketing companies that act as mortgage companies who think that they know what they're doing and their offers aren't getting accepted. And, we're here getting offers accepted. So you gotta stick with us.
That's a great point. We had one, the realtor told me, in fact, at the closing, the reason why they went with this buyer's offer is because she knew we were a reputable lender, over 30 years in the market. And when she saw our name on the pre-approval letter, she knew it was going to get done. I want to thank Amy for that nice compliment. Amy, thank you very much if you're listening. Lisa Lawson.
Yeah, I think we say it all the time. You have to go with who's in the know. Experience matters, and staying cutting edge. We have so many new programs, and we don't mention it enough. Things that we all talk about MSHDA because everybody knows it, but we have other down payment assistance programs. So maybe the answer is you've already paid off those debts that Harvey was talking about, and you just are a little bit shy on the funds to close, or you thought someone was going to give you a gift, and then all of a sudden they said no, they can't. Something came up. There are other programs that can kind of fill in those spaces. So speak to people who understand that to stay up on current information and have your best interest at heart.
Excellent. Becky, last words of the day.
Get educated. Don't just deal with people that tell you what you want. to hear. Get the facts and know what you're getting into. I'm dealing with someone was trying to do an alternative down payment assistance, very clear. And then someone told them about the MISDA program. They think now all down payment assistance is MISDA, and they don't understand the limitations that come along with that particular down payment assistance, like sales price. As soon as you're over 224,500, you no longer qualify for that program. So you're now creating this hostile environment that doesn't have to be hostile just because you're not listening because someone told you what you wanted to hear, but they didn't have all the facts of the story. So don't call around and make a bunch of phone calls until someone tells you what you want to hear, because chances are they don't know all the facts and they're just muddying the water in the long run for everybody.
Excellent. I appreciate you. My final words of the day are I appreciate this panel. I appreciate Becky, Lisa, John, and Harvey. Everybody at Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. The good news is, everybody, is that there are homes out there to buy. There are homes that are being sold. And you got to get those offers accepted from people that know what they're talking about. We've said it before. We'll say it again. Experience matters. And just be careful what you're listening to and what you're watching. There are a lot of scammers out there, and they always come out in the woodwork when times get desperate. This has been the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, Wednesday, September 20th. And we will be joined. Harvey, who's joining us on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show this Saturday morning?
We have a panel coming on. It's going to be Cedarwood Realty out of Franklin, Michigan. We've got 3 agents coming on. Stay tuned. We're going to make the announcement later today.
Beautiful. Appreciate it. Watch that announcement. We'll be on a little bit later today. Panel, I appreciate you. Roberto Beauchene in the booth. We'll see you soon.